Hello, everybody. Buenos días, bienvenidos, welcome. This is the video session for lesson 2 in Vistas for the summer session. And I just want to go over a few things with you, the main grammatical points of this lesson. And I'm just doing it this way because I think it's a little less time for you to have to spend watching breakout sessions and things like that. So what I'm going to do is share my screen, and that's going to be this screen right here. And let's talk about how we conjugate an AR verb. Now, we as English speakers don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about conjugating verbs in English, but it's kind of a big deal when you learn a different language, because let's take the verb ser, which we studied in lesson 1. It means to be. Well, just like in English, we don't go around saying I to be a teacher, you to be a teacher, or a student, something like that. It just doesn't work. We have to conjugate that verb. So we have the conjugations I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, they are. And we're very used to doing that. But of course, in Spanish, it's slightly different. It's a process. And what I'm going to do is go through that with you. Now, the verb ser is its own little thing. We have to learn it all by itself. But for a lot of other verbs, there's a pattern you can use. So let's take the verb hablar. It's an AR verb. And the way we conjugate this verb, so we can say like I talk, you talk, he talks, so on and so forth, is that we drop this ending right here, the AR, drop it, just get rid of it. You don't need it. And this is your stem, HABL. And you add these endings to the stem. I'm going to move this up just a little bit. So to say I talk, you've dropped off the AR, you add the O, and you get hablo. Hablo means I talk. For the to form, you add an AS. Tu hablas means you talk. For he and she, you add an A, habla, and also for usted. Now, usted means you, but usted is always conjugated just like el and ella, always, without exception, okay? For the nosotros form, or the nosotras, if it's all women, you say nosotros hablamos, and you've added your ending out here. Ellos and ellas and ustedes, I had to abbreviate this because it didn't fit, but that means ustedes is very common. You see it all the time. Ellos, ellas, and ustedes. They, and you all. Anytime you're talking to more than one person, to you all, you people out there, you add an an like hablan. So there's your AR conjugations. There's other conjugations, other endings that we use for different kinds of verbs. We're going to learn those in lesson 3. Right now, let's just concentrate on the AR verbs. And I wrote out a little example here of what a typical conversation might look like. Maria's talking to her teacher. So she goes, yo no hablo. She uses the yo form, español. Usted habla español. Do you talk Spanish? She uses usted because he's a teacher. And the teacher goes, sí, yo hablo español. Y mis amigos Roberto y Teresa también hablan. He used the ellos form here because they talk Spanish. Ellos hablan español. Todos nosotros, we all speak Spanish. Todos nosotros hablamos, there's your nosotros form, español. Okay? So you can take a look at that. Stop this video if you need to study that and see what's going on. One thing I wanted to mention, notice that Maria, she's a woman, but she says hablo. We all say hablo. I'm a guy, I say yo hablo. She's a woman, she says yo hablo. We get used to thinking that we got to make adjectives agree in Spanish, but these are not adjectives. These are verbs. Verbs don't agree. They just have their conversation. So that she's talking to a male teacher, but she goes, usted habla español, because that conjugation never changes no matter what. Okay. So there's your AR conjugations. I know that's kind of brief, but take a look at it and just see what's going on. Here's one thing. This idea is critical to learning this language and to getting a good start in learning Spanish. You can't really move on if you don't understand this idea. So if you don't get it, make sure you contact me somehow, okay? All right, let's take a look. The verb estar is an AR verb, so it's got AR conjugations with one exception. It's an irregular verb, they call it, because one of the conjugation is just a little weird, and you got to memorize this. The yo form of estar is estoy. Now, what does the verb estar mean? It means to be. We already know a verb that means to be. In English, we have one verb to be. In Spanish, there's two. They mean exactly the same thing, but you use them for different things. We always use the verb estar to talk about feelings and emotions. and also location. Now, I know those are kind of disparate ideas there, but that's just Spanish. You can't really ask why. It's just what it is. So that's why we ask, ¿Cómo estás? What I'm really asking is, how are you feeling today? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you angry? What's going on with you? And in this case, I happen to be good. So I go, estoy, notice my yo form, muy bien, gracias. You also use it for location. So I could ask, ¿Dónde estás? Where are you right now? Estoy en mi clase ahora. So the verb estar is used for location of anything. ¿Dónde está Ukiah? Ukiah está en California. Okay? So just that's what you use estar for. It has an irregular yo form. Just be aware of that. The last thing I want to talk about in all this is the verb gustar. Now, as you can clearly see, gustar is an AR verb. It means to like, but it's going to function very differently from other verbs in Spanish. And you absolutely have to memorize this if you're going to go on in this class. It's an exception to the rule, but it also happens to be a very important exception. You can't really get through life if you don't know how to say what you like and dislike. So these things are these conjugations are very important. Notice that we never use the yo, to, el, ella. Well, you actually there are ways to use that, but we don't say yo with the verb gustar. Okay, it's just part of the deal. What you say is me gusta or me gustan. We'll talk about why that is in just a second. Te gusta or te gustan means you like. Le gusta, le gustan means he or she likes, and it also works for usted. You like something. If you're talking to a teacher or somebody that's quite older than you or somebody that you really want to show a lot of respect to, right? Very formal, all right? Nos gusta, nos gustan equals we like, and les gusta and les gustan equals either they like, but it also works for ustedes when you're talking to more than one person, no matter who they are. Ustedes is just anytime you're talking to more than one person. So what's the difference between gusta and gustan? The deal is we really need to go back and examine something. The verb gustar does not mean to like. It means to please. So when I say I like books in English, in Spanish, what I'm really saying is books are pleasing to me. So this means to me is pleasing or are pleasing, whatever I'm talking about. So you have to be thinking, are you talking about one thing that you like or two things or three things that you like? Because it makes a difference, okay? I think that's all about I need to show you on that, but I did write some examples here, and I started with this. We use gusta if we like one thing. We use gustan if we like two or more things. And I wrote out some examples here. If I'm talking to my friend and I say, hey, do you like books? I go te. I'm going to scoot up here because that's how I say you like if I'm talking to a friend. So I go te gustan los libros. I'm asking if you like books, not just one book. I'm asking if you like books. That's more than one thing. So I use gustan. And the answer for me would be sí, me gustan mucho. Yeah, I really like books. I like them a lot. They please me a lot. It's kind of a backwards syntax. Syntax is the word order of any sentence. And in this case, it's kind of reversed from Spanish. I showed you another one, a couple more here. A Juan, I'm talking about Juan. I go, a Juan, to Juan, le gusta mucho hablar español. Talking is one thing. Any verb is always just going to be one thing. So he likes to talk Spanish. Talking Spanish is very pleasing to him. I put this in here for, well, we'll talk about it in a second. Same thing for a usted. A usted le gustan los deportes. Why did I use gustan? Because sports, there's many sports. There's hundreds of sports. So that's more than one thing. So I go, sports are pleasing to you, you form, right? So I go, a usted le gustan los deportes. Okay? Now, for clarification, take a look at the sentence. Les gusta bailar. Do I know who likes to dance exactly? And this is a good sentence. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a complete sentence. You'll hear it all the time or something like that. But do I know who's really talking about, unless we've been talking about somebody, I don't know who likes to dance. But we can clarify that with what I did right here to some extent. And if I say, a Roberto y Julia les gusta bailar, they like to dance. And now we know exactly who likes to dance. All right. Now that's a brief overview. If you need more, what do you call reinforcement on studying this thing, you can check it out in our textbook, or definitely look at the videos that accompany our lessons. And the one thing I want to say, notice if what somebody likes is dancing or to dance, we never conjugate this verb. Like think about it in English. You never say, I dance. You never conjugate the second verb. Look at up here right now. Bailar is not conjugated because we say they like to dance. We don't want to say they dance. So don't conjugate that second verb. It's always going to be unconjugated. They like to dance. All right, folks. I hope that that has been a good overview of our lessons assignments. A lessons structure. There's other things that you need to study. The numbers, you need to know those, and asking forming questions is also part of it. So go back and review all that, and let me know if you got questions. Use the Ask Your Instructor function in Vistas. I think it's very helpful. I'm going to end this video right now, and I will say hasta luego.